What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monty Sports Show. It is Sunday, September 20th, 2020. I am your host, Monty Perez, aka the Sports Whisperer. You can follow me on social media on Twitter, MontyJP231, Facebook, Monty Perez, and on Instagram, Monty Perez2. That is spelled with an E, not a Y. And guys, please, for the love of everything holy, go to Nuts and Bolts Sports on YouTube and subscribe to Nuts and Bolts Sports so you can see all the videos we put out there. We had 34 states tune in across the country last week. Very happy with the numbers that we are showing week in and week out. The goal is to do the show 5 days a week. We're getting there. We're getting there. I do a show on Tuesday night now with Rico, Show Me the Money, Graziano. That is a 1-hour show, 9 p.m. Eastern time, where we basically just recap the week in the NFL. We have the best guests all across the country, and this week is no exception. In about 20 minutes, Carita Parks is going to join us. She's going to talk about the Washington football team. They had a very impressive victory last week, 27-17 over my Philadelphia Eagles. I was shocked at that outcome. So she's going to talk about where they're at right now and what to look forward to the rest of the season. And in 40 minutes, Greg Rector will join us. We always get into heated debates. Greg's going to talk a little college football, some NBA and the Dallas Cowboys. And finally, at the top of the hour, Rico, Show Me the Money, Graziano joins us. Listen, Rico, we should really call him Rico, Here Comes the Money. He was 1-0 last week, 1 winning week, 0 losing weeks. Remember last year he went 12 winning weeks, 3 losing weeks, and 1 tie. If you gamble on sports, Rico's the guy you definitely want to listen to. And we'll also do some fantasy football. He beat me last week in fantasy football. Not too happy about that, but I will bounce back in that. So we definitely have a jam-packed show. So glad you were with us. And as always, please keep the comments coming on the top right-hand corner. But let's start the journey with this. Let's start our journey today with this. Now, people look at me and they say, Monty, you're a comedian. You're an entertainer. You're a philosopher. You're a motivator. Monty, you're a leader of men. People will follow you in the depths of hell. Literally. Let me just say this. No one has ever said that to me. No one. Those are the voices in my head that say that. If anything, people say, Monty, I've been successful because I do the opposite of what you do. But you got to build yourself up. You have to build yourself up. And my mom always tries to build me up. And every year she has the same conversation with me, but it's getting more frequent now. Now it's up to like 3 times a year. My mom said to me this weekend, and I quote, Monty, I want you to get married. I want you to get married. Now, she didn't say I want you to date. She didn't say I want you to be in a relationship. She's like, I want you to get married. And then she gives me reasons as to why I should be married. Sort of like a resume that I should present my future bride with. She says, you're tall. You're a hard worker. You've never been married. You don't have any kids. That's a good sign for someone your age. And then she runs out of things to say. She's like, you have good posture. You're symmetrical. You won the spelling bee in 6th grade. This is what I'm working with. You've won the spelling bee in 6th grade. Now, look, it is not marriage I am opposed to. I believe in marriage. But it's the death do us part that scares the hell out of me. Now, look, you can be and commit a heinous crime in this country. And you could go to jail for 7 years, pay your debt, and come out and you're free. But marriage is death do us part. And I don't have the heart to tell her. I don't even listen to my iPod where the song is longer than 3 minutes. I change it. So if I can't commit to a 3-minute song, how am I going to commit to 30 years? How am I going to commit to 30 years? I don't even listen to the complete songs on my iPod. But I want to tell you real quickly about a date I had before I moved to Florida. Now, let me just preface by saying I've never went out with a woman once and then never spoke to her again. Never saw her again. It's never a one and done with me. Either they wanted to go out with me again or I wanted to go out with me, I wanted to go out with them again, and we just went out. So I've never had a one and done. And the reason is my first date is so perfect. The restaurant I used to go to, the music, the jukebox. They had an old fashioned jukebox, the wine, the conversation, the flowers. I used to have this guy, Miguel, who would give me like this bouquet of flowers. It was a mixture, so it wasn't just your traditional roses. My first date is almost like a movie where I'm the main character and the woman is just an extra. I'm the actor, director, whatever. So my first dates are I know no matter who I go out with, you go out with me once, my first date is perfect because I'm just playing a role. I'm not lying. The scenery makes it. It has nothing to do with me. So I used to go to this deli in Hoboken, New Jersey. And I went there one day with my friend Suds, and this woman says, "Hey, Monty, what are you doing this weekend?" Her name was Maria. Very nice, very attractive, always used to treat me nice. And Sud says he's not doing anything, and it's his birthday. Now, it wasn't my birthday. It was November. My birthday's in December. So she's like, "You're not doing anything for your birthday?" Well, I'm taking you out for your birthday. What are you doing tonight? I'm like, "It's not my birthday." So we called and ordered food before we got there. So she goes back and gets it. And she said, "This food's on the house. Happy birthday. Come back here at 7. I will take you out." Now, right away, I'm starting the date off on a lie. And my friend Suds is like, "Yeah, he'll be here. He'll be here." So all day I'm thinking, how do I get out of this date? I couldn't. Fine. I show up, get the flowers, but she doesn't want to go to the restaurant, that I used to like to go to. So already I'm on her home turf. So this is not going to be the best date of a lifetime. So we drive about 15 minutes and we get to this ice skating rink. Now, as soon as we get there, I said, "What are we doing here?" She goes, "Oh, I'm a world-class ice skater." She's like, "I've ice skated since I was 3. I've taken martial arts since I was 3. I speak 5 languages." And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I on a date with Salt or Anna? Is this girl Maria some sort of Russian spy that I don't know about? And to prove my point, when we get there, there's a Russian couple who hand out the skates. She had her own, but I had to get skates. And she talks to them in Russian. So I'm a little confused here. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm on a date with a spy. And I don't know if you've ever seen a woman figure skate in perfect. It's pretty badass. It's pretty cool. So we skate for about 35, 40 minutes. We go across the street to a bar, have a couple of drinks, and I tell her, "Look, if you want to go to this restaurant, GP's in North Bergen, I'll take you." She's like, "Yeah, let's go there." As we're leaving, this woman turns quickly and she spills red wine all over my white shirt. No big deal, right? Well, no, not really. Within 5 seconds, Maria puts her in an arm bar and says, "What the hell are you doing to my man?" What is happening here? What is happening? The bouncers come, people come. I was like, "Calm down. Don't fight. Well, it was an accident." So we get to the car, and I have, I reek of Cabernet. So I said, "Let me stop home and change my shirt. Then we'll go out to dinner." She's like, "No, you don't have to do that." She's like, "Just roll it up." Um, she's like, "I got you a present." I was like, "Oh." She goes, "Yeah, I got you some cologne for your birthday." And again, it wasn't my birthday. So I open it up and she's like, "Here, let me spray it on you." So she's about to spray it on me. And then she realizes she forgot her phone in the bar. So we walk back into the bar. We come back. We're driving. And I say, "Hey, can you spray that cologne on me? Because she put it in her purse." I'm like, "It's really smells like wine here." So she grabs it as I'm driving and she sprays it right in my eye. Now, normally that would be bad, but you walk away from that. But here's the thing, she didn't spray me with cologne. She took out the mace in her pocketbook and she sprayed me with mace in my face. Now, look, I don't know if she was a spy, but the mace didn't hit my nose. It didn't hit my cheeks. It didn't hit my mouth. It literally, it's like she sprayed it twice. It both went in my eye. So I pull over. I'm screaming hysterically, screaming. I just got sprayed with mace in my face. I can't see. I don't know what's going on. She feels so bad. She grabs me and she starts kissing my eyes to make it feel better. Now, within a minute of her doing that, her lip explodes because apparently whatever was in there, she's allergic to it. So I pull over. I get out of the car. My eyes, I'm cursing. I can't see. She has a fat lip. Some guy says, "Hey, what's going on here?" I'm like, "She maced me. She maced me." Within 10 seconds, the guy grabs me and throws me on the hood of the car. It was a police officer. Now, thank God she knew him from Hoboken and she explains to him what happened. But just imagine what the police officer saw. My white shirt in the dark looks like there's blood on it. I said she just maced me, right? And she has a lip that's swollen out here like it looks like I punched her. So after like 15 minutes of explaining what was going on, I say, look, I'm just going to go home. I can't see. I take her to the deli where I dropped her off. She lived right across the street. And she says to me, I'd love to do this again. Are you going to call me tomorrow? Am I going to call you tomorrow? I'm going to get a restraining order against you. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So, the moral of this story, and again, this is part one. Okay, I will tell you part two next week. The moral of this story is that your parents, when you're a kid, they tell you things, and you don't listen to them. Then, when you get to be an adult, your parents tell you things, you still don't listen to them. My mom and dad have been telling me things that I should have been listening to from a kid, and it takes me years to realize how right they were. And the moral of this story, again, this is only part one, but the moral of this story is maybe I should listen to my mom and just get married. Because quite honestly, dating, dating could be very painful. Painful. And there you have part one. All right. We start each show with the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with the good. Let's start with the good. Joe Burrow, the rookie out of LSU, who won the national championship and Heisman Trophy, threw 61 times Thursday night. 61 times. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. No rookie has ever done that. Now, I don't know what the hell's going on with A.J. Green, pictured right here. He was targeted, I think, 13 or 14 times. 3 catches. A.J. Green's not getting it done. But listen to how good Joe Burrow was. 5 for 5 on 4th down. So when the Browns knew he was going to pass, Joe Burrow was very successful. Very successful. Look, the problem here is Joe Burrow's getting hit 22 times in 2 games. 22 times. So Joe Burrow cannot sustain this. He's a very good quarterback. He's better than I thought. He's a winner. He said after they lost, hey, guys, this is unacceptable. I've lost 2 games here, and I haven't lost 2 games back-to-back in my career in high school or college. But Joe Burrow is getting beat up. He's going to be walking around just not, high five someone, and he's going to get hurt. Week 7, 8, he's gotten hit 22 times. Come on, man. Protect this kid. But Joe Burrow is the real deal. My brother was right. I was wrong. He is much better than I thought. Now, start the show with the good. Now let's go to the bad. So the Jets, when they hired Adam Gase, pictured right here, said he was a genius. They said last year at the end of the season, Adam Gase is a genius. Now they're saying after they got humiliated by the Buffalo Bills in week 1, Adam Gase is a genius. The Jets keep saying this, okay? The Jets keep saying this. They keep using that word, genius. I don't think they know what it means. Listen to this. Adam Gase, in 17 starts as the Jets head coach, The Jets have scored less than 20 points in 11 of the 17 games. Don't tell me Adam Gase is a genius. He's supposed to be an offensive guru. I don't know who gave him that title, but 11 out of the 17 games, they've scored less than 20 points. They are going to get destroyed by an injury-ridden San Francisco 49er team today. They're going to get destroyed. So don't tell me Adam Gase is a genius, because quite honestly, I don't think you know what that word means, Jet ownership. Absolutely pathetic. Now, finally, last week, we see these people all the time. Hey, we're going to protest. We're going to protest the NFL. Go ahead. Protest. You don't even know what people are kneeling about. You're believing a lie. Absolutely disgraceful. So all these people protesting, I don't care, because you know why? Last week on Sunday, the Tampa Bay Bucks versus the New Orleans Saints was the highest rated football game in 4 years. This week's Thursday night game between two teams that no one outside of Ohio cares about, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns, was the most popular watch show on Thursday. It was up 3% from last year on the NFL Network. A lot of people don't have the NFL Network. So I don't understand, how they could be up when everyone says they're going to boycott, which because they're believing a lie about kneeling. So great job by the NFL. Great job, people watching. Look, there's a lot of stuff to watch. So I think overall, the ratings will be down because we have the NBA Western and Eastern Conference Finals. We have the Hockey Stanley Cup. My dad's watching baseball every night because every game means something for the New York Mets. So the ratings might be a little bit down, but they're kicking ass right now. So all you boycotters, do whatever you got to do because it's not working. And there we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, I was 9-6 last week. 9-6. That's bad for me. I've never had a losing week picking games. 9-6, week one. Terrible job by me. Rico's going to cover the Rams against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's also going to cover the Giants at the Bears and the Vikings at the Indianapolis Colts. So let's get to it. Look, whether you're in LA, Chicago, Wisconsin, Florida, or New York, we got you covered. We break down every game and we give you prediction and winners. Okay, so the Detroit Lions at the 1-0 Green and Bears. The Lions are 0-1. Matthew Stafford is 4-1 against the Packers since 2017. As a Packer fan, I am very nervous about this game. Packers have one of the best home field advantages, but we don't know how many fans are going to be there. Most NFL arenas are allowing 12 to 15,000. Now, Aaron Rodgers had a great game last week. I think he's going to play on a chip on his shoulder the whole year because Jordan Love, they drafted him, and Jordan Love, the quarterback out of Utah, is 4th on the depth chart. He's 4th. And here's the thing about that. He's 4th on the depth chart. They only have 3 quarterbacks. So don't tell me Jordan Love was the right pick. Aaron Rodgers is pissed off, and rightly so. I'm worried about this game. Again, Matthew Stafford 4-1 in his last 5 against the Packers, but I'm going to take Green Bay here, 24-20. Buffalo Bills at the Miami Dolphins. Listen, guys, the Bills, Josh Allen, doing everything they can do to play to their strengths. Josh Allen threw for over 300 yards last week. The Bills have won 3 consecutive games against Miami. Make it 4. Ryan Fitzpatrick is just holding the fort until Tua Tagovailoa, the talented quarterback from Alabama, takes over probably about week 4 or week 5. Take the Buffalo and Josh Allen, 23-17. San Francisco 49ers at the New York Jets. Again, we posted this. Adam Gase is an absolute joke. 20 points in 11 of 17 games. Under 20 points in 11 of 17 games. He is terrible. My good friend Jared is worried about this game. Listen, San Francisco rolls 34-17. Denver Broncos at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, I like what the Broncos have done in the offseason. They lost last week, but Big Ben and Juju Smith-Schuster have a great chemistry with the quarterback and the wide receiver. I think Juju Smith-Schuster's going to have at least 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. This is going to be a competitive game. But take the Steelers here. The Broncos have won 3 of 4 against Pittsburgh, but that doesn't matter. Steelers win 23-13. Carolina Panthers take on the 0-1 Bucks in Tampa. I know Godwin is hurt. Godwin is hurt for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Mike Adams is dealing with hamstring, but it looks like he'll play. Listen, anytime Tom Brady, it hasn't been a lot, but Tom Brady has lost 3 games the first game of the year to start the season. He's always won big the next game. I think Brady gets it right this week, and I think Tampa wins 30-20. Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. Listen, we talked about this, and you got to give this guy credit. Yes, he looks like White Goodman from the movie Dodgeball, but Gardner Minshew became the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to complete 95% of his passes and throw 3 TDs. He was 19 for 20 on Sunday. 19 for 20. Tennessee continues to do what they do. They win ugly. I won't be surprised if the Jags pull an upset, but I'm going with the low-scoring game here. Take the Titans 20-17. Baltimore Ravens at the Houston Texans. Listen, I think the Ravens are the best team in the NFL right now. They have won 13 regular season games. Texans' #1 wide receiver is Will Fuller. That's all you need to know. Deshaun Watson's going to be scrambling for his life like he does every week. And I think Baltimore pulls away in the fourth quarter and they win 33-17. Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers. Look, I'm going to watch this game, the second half of the doubleheader today. But talk about dominating one team. Talk about dominating one team. The Chiefs have won 11 of 12 against the Chargers. 11 of 12. Tyrod Taylor is a Chargers quarterback, but like in Miami with Fitzpatrick and Tua, I think he's just holding the fort until Justin Herbert, the talented rookie from Oregon, takes over. Take Patrick Money Mahomey. I know that's annoying to people, but the Chiefs win 27-20. New England Patriots at the 1-0 Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson is 16-3-1 at home in prime time. The Patriots want to run the ball with their backs and Cam Newton. Okay, but I got to believe that Russell Wilson gets it done today. Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the NFL, and I think he proves it once again with a New England defense that they look good against Miami, but let's face it, they're Miami and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Russell Wilson leads them to a big victory here, 31-20. Finally, on Monday night, the Saints travel to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders. First home game for the Raiders. Look, the Saints are without Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas had 149 catches last year, set the NFL record. He's an elite wide receiver. I expect Alvin Kamara to have a big-time game. And I think the Saints, again, take over in the second half. Saints win 30-20. And there you have it. We go through every game in the NFL, breaking them down. We're going to bring on Carita Parks in about 2 minutes, but let's do something we love to do first. Let's us span the crowd. Let us span the crowd. White Goodman, yes, he looks like White Goodman. Yeah, Tom Brady lost to the Saints. Listen, I think Tom Brady is going to have at least 3 touchdown passes. I think he's going to do a great job today. And again, Jared, I just don't get it. He thinks that, his 49ers are going to lose. Adam Gase is a terrible coach. 20 times. The Jets, 17 times the Jets have scored less than 20 points. And he's supposed to be an offensive guru. He's terrible. Keep the comments coming. We'll get them to you. Want to bring on Carita Parks now. She's been on our show. There is no one I'd rather talk to you than when it comes to the Washington football teams. I still struggle sometimes saying it. How are you this week?
I'm doing well. We're still all getting used to it.
Well, I'm going to start something here. We always like to start the show that's going to keep you happy. You are the only team in the NFC East who's 1-0. You're in first place. I don't know how long that's going to last, but you got to feel good today, right?
Who would have thought? But
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I really believe that Ron Rivera, we're going to get to the question, but Ron Rivera has really brought stability to this unit. And talk about, he's going through cancer treatment right now. At halftime of the game, they're down 17-7. Mm-hmm. He comes in, he gets an IV, and Dwayne Haskins literally takes over the locker room. Talk about Ron Rivera, and has Dwayne Haskins now claimed this team?
Most definitely. I think the biggest difference for Haskins is that he's come into this year knowing that he is the leader of this team. He didn't have that last year. Last year, they went through all of their quarterbacks before finally landing on him. So now he's a captain, he's a leader of this team, and he showed it. He took a step in his leadership. And it's really interesting that Ron Rivera had to get an IV at halftime. That just shows how hard he's still working for this team despite what he's going through. And for Haskins to step up, I think that he got a ton of respect from his teammates. And to be fair, those guys were always behind him, but I think to see him step into that role and embrace it is a huge, huge step forward.
Yeah, in doing my prep for this show, I didn't realize this. Over the last 3 games, Haskins has a QB rating of 111, 65% completion, 5 touchdowns, no interception. And the Redskins, who we don't think have any offensive weapons, scored 27, 35, and 27 points. What did you like? I know it's only game 1. He did not have a preseason to, get the rust off. What did you like about Haskins in the first game?
Just the fact that they were down, they were down 17-0. And the fact that they were able to rally back and the offense stayed calm. They didn't lose their cool. They stayed focused and they were able to pull off that win. That is impressive. I mean, I've been covering this team, and last season we would have never seen adjustments after halftime, and we saw adjustments. So that's huge. But also, I love that Haskins and the offense, they capitalized on both turnovers that were generated by the defense. So they turned that into points. I think there's a lot to look forward to when it comes to this offense. They still are trying to gel, don't get me wrong. But once that happens, they are a young unit. But once that happens, I think we'll see some great things. And also to your point, I will say last season, Haskins, his last 3 or 4 games, I mean, he was really showing improvement. He was connecting with Terry McLaurin on like a 75-yard pass. I mean, he was doing a great job. So, to see him take that step forward this year has been great.
Listen, this defense had 8 sacks. The offensive line is banged up. They're not that good. Chase Young, the rookie out of Ohio State, had 1.5 sacks, forced fumble. People are going to think I'm crazy here, but I really believe this. This is a top 5 defensive unit, is it not?
Oh, of course. And they've always had the capability of being a top 5 unit. They've always had the talent on paper, but they lacked coaching, and that is what held them back. But also, you add Chase Young this season, and he's propelling them to the place that they always had an opportunity to be. So combining Young and better coaching, I definitely don't think it's far-fetched to say that this is a top 5 defense.
No, I agree with you. I think they are absolutely a top 5 defense. I put up the picture here. They're not. It's amazing because you think of great fan bases, right? You think of the Green Bay Packers. You think of the Washington Redskins. All those guys dressing as hogs. We're seeing this in the NBA where the young players, because there's no fans, they're just going out and they're playing like it's AAU. Mm-hmm. And I think young players in the NFL are going to benefit because they're not getting booed. They don't feel the pressure. It's just like a practice to them, right? Do you think the lack of fans helps the younger players?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're showing that they're able to generate their own energy. And I think especially as young players, like you have to be able to do that. So I think that fans, obviously you want fans because you think fans give energy. But I think in this case, it's been good not having the fans, especially last week. Imagine fans in the stands when they were down 17-0.
That's my whole point. Yeah, they would be booing them, and they might feel pressure. But we've seen this in the NBA with the Denver Nuggets down 3-1 to the Clippers, down 20 points, the Miami Heat. They don't care, these young guys. They're just playing it's an AAU or they're 7-on-7 when it comes to football. Now, I want to talk about this offense because they did struggle a little bit. Philadelphia has a better defense than people give them credit for, but they only had 80 yards rushing and 159 passing yards. Who's the number 1 wide receiver and who is the number 1 running back for this team?
Right now, the number 1 wide receiver, without a doubt, is Terry McLaurin. He impressed last season. They did hold him a bit last week, but he was still their number one weapon, and he will be going forward. That's
Now,
no doubt
when
in
you
my
say
mind when it
number
comes to
one,
that.
do you think he's
As far as
when you say number one, do you think 80 catches, 10 touchdowns is a realistic goal for him?
for the season,
Yes.
80
catches, 10 touchdowns for the number one option. I mean, because when you think of number one option, I'm not going to compare him to Michael Thomas, who had 149 catches last year because he had Drew Brees. You know, you're dealing with the quarterback who's still learning. But if he's going to be the number one, he needs to get 7-8 catches a game and 10 touchdowns. Is that too much of a stretch?
I don't think that's too much of a stretch for Terry, but a key is going to be Haskins getting the ball in his hands and being accurate. So it's not all on Terry. I mean, that's going to be on Haskins too, but I don't think that he's incapable of making that happen. Now, like you said, he's definitely not comparable to Michael Thomas, but he is the number one option and one of the most talented wide receivers on this team. But I would like to see them get Antonio Gandy Golden more involved so I can see, how he'll be able to contribute.
Now, listen, I've said this at the end of last year. I've said this. There was no preseason I said it. I'm going to continue to say it. Odell Beckham Jr. needs to be traded from the Cleveland Browns. There's no chemistry there. I know he had a big catch, but he had 4 receptions. They have too many options. The Cleveland Browns have 2 running backs who are number one options in Chubb and Kareem Hunt. He's going to be on the trading block. Would you see he would thrive in Washington as the number one wide receiver? And think about how good everyone else would be. Instead of being number one, number two, they'll be number 2, number 3. Would you like to see them pursue the trade? Because within 2 weeks, Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be on the trading block.
To be honest with you, I know that Odell will definitely contribute immediately on the field. I'm just trying to wrap my head around whether or not he fits into the culture that Ron Rivera is trying to build. Like right now, I think Ron Rivera is actually happy with the group that he has, and I think he wants to see them to develop. And like you said, obviously, Odell coming to DC, he would thrive, but I'm not sure yet. I can't say I'm sold on it. I think, like I said, if you look at just his playing ability, obviously, I mean, he would thrive almost anywhere, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure from a culture perspective if he fits into what Ron Rivera is trying to build, but you never know.
Well, look, Greg, obviously he's coming on next. Cowboys, we're talking with Carita Parks here on the Full Monty Sports Show. A Cowboy fan saying lots of positives going on in D.C. Well, yeah, is the world freaking out right now? Are cats and dogs living together?
You have to admit that they were impressive last week, and it gives you hope that they can be impressive going forward. It didn't look like a fluke.
Okay, so they're playing Arizona here. Kyler Murray, one thing about him, for some reason, when you have a good defensive line, he dominates the San Francisco 49ers. Same thing here. Washington, how do you contain him? Give us some keys to this game because the Arizona Cardinals are doing something that most teams don't do. They're saying, Kyler Murray, throw the ball 40 times a game. You win us. It's almost like what Seattle does in the fourth quarter with Russell Wilson. Win us a game. They let Kyler Murray just throw the ball, create, run. They don't put the handcuffs on him, so to speak. He is very dangerous.
He's extremely dangerous, and he's a lot more elusive than Carson Wentz. I mean, he makes guys miss, but the Washington defensive line in the pass rush, they're going to have to put the pressure on Kyler Murray. I mean, you have to make him uncomfortable or else he's going to burn you with his arm and his legs. Also, from a defensive perspective, they'll have to force turnovers again, just like they did with the Eagles. And that way they can try to get points on the board from turnovers. And offensively, they're going to have to start much faster than they did last week. They won and they pulled it off, but you don't want to be in a situation, especially against a dangerous Arizona team, where you have to try to come back. So they need to make Haskins comfortable early and establish that run game.
Because no, I really think when you look at the Redskins, and again, I think Haskins has tremendous upside right now, but it's almost the same formula we saw on Thursday night. For Baker Mayfield to be successful, you don't want him playing from behind. You don't want to put the ball and say, hey, you got to win this for us. You want to establish the running game. So I think that's what they have to do, right? They got to start, run on first down, run maybe 30 times a game, control the clock, and more importantly, you want to keep Kyler Murray off the field because he could score 14 points in 4 minutes.
And not just keeping Kyler Murray off the field, you want to keep DeAndre Hopkins off the field too, because he's going to be important to contain as well. I mean, he had a career day last Sunday against San Francisco. So we don't want to see the same thing. So our secondary is going to have quite a bit of work to do containing him too.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup. Again, give us some keys offensively and defensively, and then give us a score. Who do you think is going to win?
So I think offensively, I kind of spoke on it. Definitely start fast, protect the football. Like, we do not want to give up the football. We can't afford to do that. Like you said, Dwayne Haskins, he has not produced any turnovers in his last few games. So we need him to continue to do that. And like I said, establish that run so that it opens things up down the field and also takes a little pressure off of Dwayne and helps him out there. And then defensively, like I said, you got to pressure Murray. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to contain DeAndre Hopkins. You cannot let – because DeAndre can go up and get almost any ball. So you're going to really have to make sure that you keep him in check and force those turnovers.
You know, it's amazing because you talk about Kyler Murray and against one of the top 5 defense in the league in San Francisco. He only got hit really once last week. And he has a lot of Russell Wilson in him, is that he's so elusive, and a lot of it has to do with him playing baseball. He knows when to slide instinctively. He doesn't get hit. But I think you have to get Kyler Murray hit early so he doesn't get out of the pocket. So I would look for them to do some blitz packages, even if that means leaving your defensive backs one-on-one. They need to create turnovers and be super aggressive and hit Kyler Murray early so he doesn't feel, hey, I can run and not get hit.
Exactly, because once he gets that confidence, you know.
It's lights out. Yeah, lights out. Now, so talk about this team. We have like another minute or two left before we get Greg Rector on here. I was shocked, quite honestly, because I still think Philadelphia is going to win the division. I was shocked at how they dominated that game from pretty much the second quarter on. This team, and again, you never want to get too high after a win, get too low after a loss, but this team with their defense, and like we said, Dwayne Haskins, forget about the no turnovers, 65% completion percentage in his last 3 games. This team has tremendous upside. Are you optimistic that you may win 9 games, or are you still like, let's slow down with that?
I'm more optimistic that we can win 9 games. In the offseason, I definitely predicted lower, but after actually seeing them perform, because it's more than them winning, it is, if you just look at the performances, like that defensive line is great. And that was just game 1. They're going to get better over the season. That offense is going to get better over the season. And just the confidence that they played with, to see them play with confidence was great. And they have fight in them this season. So I have more, like I said, I have more confidence that they can win 9 games now.
No, listen, and one of the things that really impresses me, and we talked about this when you were on the show before the season started, is just the presence of Ron Rivera, the professional approach that Washington desperately needed. Look, the Jets need it. The Jets are an absolute train wreck. You know, and what's so amazing is people are, at least for 1 week, the first week, they understand what he was doing schematically. They understood what was going on, what they needed to do. And to take to your point, that defense is going to get better every week because they're going to understand what he wants more and more as the season goes on.
Yeah, and the defense has a lot of depth. Like, at any time, you can rotate someone out, rotate someone in, and still get production. I mean, look what Ryan Kerrigan did when he came into the game. Ended up being NFC Defensive Player of the Week. And one more thing, Ron Rivera, these guys want to win for him, especially because of what he is going through with those cancer treatments. And they know that he's showing up for them even with that. They want to win for him.
Now, give us your offensive and defensive player of the year. And you said you think they're going to be 9-7. Is that your prediction?
That's my prediction.
Okay, and now give us your offense and defensive player of the year for the Redskins.
Defensive player of the year, I'm going with Mr. Chase Young. I'm putting
Love
my money
that guy.
on him.
I love him.
Offensive player of the year, I had to think about a little more, but I'm going with Terry McLaurin. Last year we saw some of what he could do, and I think he's only going to get better this year. So I'm calling that right now.
You know, he's definitely
He's
a
special.
lot. He's definitely a lot better than I thought he was. Like I said, if he could get 80 catches and 10 touchdowns, and you know, I think that Odell Beckham Jr. in the right situation was an elite wide receiver with the Giants.
100%.
So if Washington has a chance to get him, because he's the type of guy that needs to be the number one option. Listen, there are Randy Moss needed to be that. Terrell Owens needed to be that. As long as they're number one, he's fine. Odell's not going to be happy in Cleveland. If I'm the Washington football team, I go after him.
And you know, hey, a tandem of Terry McLaurin and Odell Beckham, I'm not against it. So definitely would keep my eyes open.
Exactly.
What they decide to do.
Carita, how can we follow you on social media? How can we follow you covering the Washington football team?
You can follow me on social media at Carita Parks on all platforms. You can also follow my sports platform at Double Take Sports. That's at DBL Take Sports. And all of my Redskins coverage, all of my Washington coverage, I did it too. You can find that on the 3pointconversion.com.
Okay, we love having you on. I told this to you last time. Anything you do, please put it on my page so we can help you. I love having you on. You are a tremendous guest. Always honest, which I love. Even though you are a fan, you're very honest, and you let people who don't follow this team really understand what they're about and what to look for. So we appreciate your knowledge when it comes to this team.
Thank you so much. I love joining you, and I appreciate you having me on.
All right, we'll have you on again, and good luck today. I think Arizona wins 24-20, but you know what? I was wrong last week, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm going the opposite way. I'm going to say Washington 24-21.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Well, it should be a great game. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you having you on. That was Carita Parks. Listen, she does a tremendous job of covering the Washington football team. We're going to bring on my good friend, Greg. But before we bring you on, Greg, as you sit right there, let me take that background off, give you something that, you know, so you feel a little bit more comfortable with. Let me take the Washington Here you go, Greg. There you go.
There we go. A little bit better there.
All right, Greg. So we're going to start off in an argument, and I'm not going to win this argument, but we try to start the show to something good to make you feel good. I think Emmitt Smith was the greatest Dallas Cowboy. Tell our fans who are young who this is throwing the ball. You think he's the greatest Dallas Cowboy of all time?
Captain America, Roger Staubach.
One of the greats of all. I actually watched film, the first ever breakdown of a quarterback. I watched on the NFL Network, or not the NFL, on ESPN when I was a kid, and they were breaking down old tapes of Roger Staubach.
Well, he was the let's put it this way, you got to see Romo play. You saw Romo's elusiveness.
Right.
Roger Staubach, Roger the Dodger.
Roger the Dodger.
That nickname for a reason, man. You could not get him down. He was he would escape, and you're going, how? But he'd do it. And then he'd find Pearson down the field, or Hill or somebody, and boom, okay, 7 points.
He was basically you know, a dual threat quarterback before dual threat quarterbacks, right?
Yeah. He wasn't a true running quarterback, but in the realm of Randall and all those guys that came along, but when needed, he could just get the job done, plain and simple.
All right, Greg, let's talk about this here. The Big Ten is going to start their season, 9 games, October 4th. I have mixed feelings about this. You're against this. Tell us why.
I just don't think any of these kids should be playing under these conditions with COVID. We saw that young man, 20 years old, going to that college in Pennsylvania, dead. COVID. These guys don't get paid. They don't have that ability to say yay or nay. This is ridiculous. The NCAA should be completely ashamed of themselves in this time. I'm sorry. Just no, cut it out. Let these kids go to school. This is what their priority should be. It's a student athlete. And until the NCAA returns to that, I have very little use for them, as you already know. I don't like the NCAA. It's student athlete. The
Okay,
student
Greg,
is gone.
but here's what I'm going to say. We've seen in the bubble in the NBA how it works. We've seen in Major League Baseball, there's been cases, but can't you make the argument? And I agree with what you're saying, most of it, but can't you make the argument that these kids on campus alone are more susceptible of getting COVID because they're going to go to parties, they're going to do things irresponsibly, where they're getting tested every day under the guidelines of the NCAA?
I don't care about that. I really don't. Their priority should be making sure that these kids don't get it, period, whatsoever. Not just these kids who are playing football, but every kid going to a university. Every single one of them. Why are these guys allowed to get tested every day? Not every student gets tested every day. There's no parity. The nonsense, again, of being the jock, being protected better than anybody else, right? Goes right back to high school. That nonsense, to me, is just nonsense. You have to put the priority as every single person, not just these athletes.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now, so let's talk about, just a total failure, dereliction of duty, whatever the hell you want to call it. So let's go back here, okay? Tyronn Lue, the assistant coach of the Clippers, chose the Clippers over the Lakers.
Yeah.
Paul George chose the Clippers over the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris all chose the Clippers, who were up 3-1 and then lost to the Denver Nuggets in 7 games. Doc Rivers has now been up 3-2 and 3-1 in 6 playoff series, and he's lost. So don't tell me Doc Rivers is an elite coach. Don't tell me LeBron James is not king. Talk to me about how a colossal failure the Clippers were this year.
Well, it's the biggest failure of the year, obviously, because, I mean, it was the super team that Kawhi got his buddy Paul to go with, and da-da-da-da-da. All I've seen on YouTube, and I did this last night after I was on Twitter, I was on YouTube last night, and you would not believe the number of guys doing their thing, all doing the same segment. Why did Kawhi leave Toronto? He should have stayed in Toronto.
Exactly.
It's just been unbelievable, the number of guys who've changed their tune, right? Because everybody, LA, blah, blah, blah. What did I say about going home? You can't always go home.
Listen, George Lopez, they're LA's JV team, but you make a great point. And I said this to my friend Andrea during the week. I said, look, Paul George is not a number 2, but one thing we know, Kyle Lowry in Toronto is a legitimate number 2, if not number 1. He made the wrong basketball move leaving Toronto.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because he had a perfect setup there with Lowry as a number 2, and because of what he's able to do on the floor, it made Pascal Siakam a deadly number 3. Pascal Siakam had to move up to being the 1. Well, he wasn't ready for that. He really wasn't. And it showed in the bubble, because the kid took the first time in his 9 years of basketball life, which is very young compared to the rest of the league, he took time off. He should never have taken the time off. And it's obvious. But
okay, so real quickly, I want to give about another minute of this. I think Toronto's going to lose a few players now. Where do you see them going? If what's happening in the United States right now, especially if this maniac steals the election, I'd want to go live in Toronto. Where do the Toronto Raptors go? Are they pursuing free agents, or are they going to stand pat with this team?
Okay, so they've got to decide what they're going to do with Lowry's $31 million. Do they move Lowry? Because it's a 1-year deal, right? So a team that it could go cost certainty with, that's why they did the deal in the first place. That's why the extension was there. Move him. I think you could move him to a team like Sacramento and bring back Buddy Hield, who is in trouble with that organization.
Great shooter, though, Buddy Hield. Yeah.
That's right. You've got the great shooter, right? And you have added height. Again, you know my thing about the 2 6-footers in the NBA out there together constantly.
Van Vliet and Kyle Lowry playing in the backcourt. Very short.
Right. And I loved it when Powell comes on or when Terrence Davis came on, because it gave them some height and length in the backcourt. You can't keep running. And that's where I think Nurse blew it in the second round against Boston. Get Davis out there. He's 6'4". Thank you very much. Get him out there. Length. You needed length to defend against them.
So you think they're going to make some changes then? You think it's not going to look like the same team?
I think Gasol is gone. I think Ibaka may be gone. I think the guy that they might pursue is, as far as replacing for a big man, Hassan Whiteside out of Portland.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's move to your Cowboys, Greg. Tough opening loss. I thought it was a very competitive game. I thought both teams played good at times, left a lot of points on the board. Look, they scored 3 points in the second half. Dak Prescott had a passer rating of 56. We've seen this in Dallas under Garrett. Halftime comes, no adjustments made. You got Mike McCarthy. Where were the adjustments?
I didn't see them on offense in the second half, and the pressure and stuff from the Rams. All of a sudden, he was throwing terribly because he was 15 of 19 in the first half. There was nothing wrong with the first half, other than the fact that they didn't get on the board in the first quarter. There's the rub. The Cowboys have to establish themselves right off the bat. I've always harped about it. Establish yourself. I don't care if you're on defense first, you're on offense first. Even that damn kickoff. If they're receiving it, nail them. If you're receiving it, do something. Get something started.
It's so funny to me, Greg, because in your life, you're so progressive. You want female coaches. You fight for equality. But when it comes to coaching, you are still like, run the ball, defense.
No, I'm not. What I am saying is establish your dominance. I don't care how you do it. Okay. Establish it right off the bat. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I always get angry with the Cowboys, because they refuse to establish dominance. You put your best foot forward right off the bat from the opening whistle. Plain and simple. And I don't see that. That's what the Cowboys used to do.
So Mike McCarthy takes over after spending 13 years in Green Bay, won a Super Bowl, 125, 77, 9 playoff appearances. What do you like? What don't you like so far?
I really don't. I don't have enough, because there was no preseason or anything like that, and we only saw what we saw Sunday night, right? So I'm not ready to label the coaching staff any which way. There's just not enough there to do so as of yet.
Okay, really let's move to this, because this to me is what happened to the Rams last year. They had all these high-priced contracts, and then the injury bug hit. Dallas lost tight end Blake Jarwin, right tackle Cam Irvin, Leighton Vander Esch, and the other linebacker who's always injured is now injured as well. What are they doing at the linebacker position? How are they going to recover from these injuries from 3 or 4 starters and players who contribute?
Well, Joe Thomas and Justin March are going to get their chance. The guy I'm kind of surprised that isn't being given a chance is Francis Bernard, because everybody who covered the camp said Bernard was a superstar out there. But we'll see. They really have to go next man up this week, because next week it doesn't get any easier. They got a trip up to the Pacific Northwest, and that guy that I can't stand that you love. I'm sorry. When his wife danced on Our Star, that did it. Russell Wilson, you're a dead man to me. That's it.
Greg, you got to let things go, man. You got to let it go.
No, you do not dance on my star. George Teague, where were you?
You're talking about this guy right here, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm talking about that guy. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, Greg. So look, this matchup here, I read your article on Nuts and Bolts Sports. I was shocked because Atlanta's defense is terrible. And I think their offense is great, that they led the league last week in over 420 passing yards against the Seattle Seahawks. But I think it's going to be Dak early. I think it's going to be Ezekiel early, Ezekiel late. I think they're going to control the ball and the time of possession and keep Atlanta off the field. Give us some keys to this game. And I'm shocked at your prediction. Tell our audience after you give the keys, the prediction of this game. I was shocked when I read it, to be honest with you.
Well, I've got this being a light show. I've got both teams well over 30 points, right? So the key to this game is what defense gets the one stop. That's what this is going to boil down to, because both of these offenses, I think, are going to have big days, plain and simple. The young secondary for the Cowboys is going to have their hands full with Julio and Calvin.
How good is Calvin Ridley, by the way?
Well, Calvin Ridley's awesome, but did you see that one catch that Hurst had for the Falcons against the Seahawks last week?
No, I didn't see that particular highlight.
I mean, he laid out. I mean, you don't see tight ends laying out like that, and he just.
That's a great thing because they lost Austin Hooper, who's now with Cleveland. But I said this in preseason. I said Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley can each catch over 90 balls this year because they're not going to throw to the tight end that much. They don't really have a running game that's proven. So you're worried about the passing game in Atlanta, right?
I'm not only worried about that. We got another guy that has torched us in the past, and he is the running back. His name's Gurley. The Cowboys have not stopped Gurley very much, right? So, and you got the linebacking core that it's just 2/3 gone. At least this week, the Falcons can't do the same thing that the Rams did with that quick dink and dunk offense. That's not how they're built. Maybe the line gets to pin their ears back this week and we see a little Lawrence and stuff like that going after Matt Ryan. But if he has any time whatsoever, Jones and Ridley are going to have big, big days.
So give us your prediction for this game.
38-34 Falcons.
Okay, 38-34. I'm writing this down. I was shocked when I was like, wow.
I know.
Yeah.
But even in the offseason, I had this as a loss. And it was because I don't know this secondary and what I saw of it last week. I'm not Trayvon Diggs did well last week, but Woods and Kupp are just professional route running receivers. Julio Jones is a totally different beast from that.
Different animal. Speed, strength, size.
Like I said in the article, Trayvon, welcome to the league of where you're in the men's league now.
Exactly.
Look out.
Greg,
look out.
So last week against the Rams, Sean McVay's an offensive coach. Late in the game, 4th and 1 at the 48-yard line with under 4 minutes left, he punts the ball. He punts the ball. So Sean McVay was basically saying, I have no confidence that Dak Prescott is going to be able to lead this team down the field. And he was right.
He was right.
Now, I'm worried about Dak Prescott, and again, I say this all the time. They paid Patrick Mahomes. They paid Carson Wentz. They paid Russell Wilson. They paid these quarterbacks. They paid Jared Goff. Jerry Jones still hasn't paid this man because he didn't give him a long-term deal. It's a 1-year deal. So is this a make-or-break year for Dak? And if Dak has a successful season, is he going to say, let's say they go 8-8. Is he going to say, screw you, Jerry, I'm leaving?
If he does do that, I'll guarantee you that the draft capital the Cowboys have with 10 picks is going to be used, and they will go after that Trevor Lawrence, plain and simple. Do you want to see Dak back?
Do you want to see Dak back?
I like Dak Prescott. I think he's got character, he's got leadership abilities, et cetera, but I think what happens way too often is everything around him falls apart. Last week, that offensive line was brutal. There was no establishing dominance. Again, I go back to it and back to it. You have to establish dominance in football. Get yourself get yourself as an offensive lineman, break out of there, knock him on his butt. That's what you're supposed to be doing, not containment. That's what the defense used to settle for, was this containment nonsense. I want to see all that change too. I want the Cowboys to hit people, knock them on their butts, and make big plays. That's how you win.
Well, I'm wearing blue today in honor of you,
yeah.
Greg. Here we go.
Kind of shocked. At least it doesn't have a devil on there. That's a good thing.
Greg, give us your prediction for the Dallas Cowboys record-wise. Are they going to win 9 games?
I had them as 11-5, based on the preseason. I got them. I've still got them winning 10.
So, and you think they're a playoff team?
Yeah, they're a playoff team. Yeah.
All right, Greg, let's move to something. We have about 2 or 3 minutes left. We're talking to Greg Rector here before we get on. Rico, show me the money, Graziano. Going to put this up back here. How did LeBron James not win the MVP? Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me is right. I mean, there is no criteria. Everybody out there understand this. The NBA does not have a criteria for the MVP. There is none. So it becomes a popularity contest.
Not
My
even a popular. It's almost like whatever's the most compelling story.
Yeah,
For those of you who
that's
don't know, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak in Milwaukee, won the MVP. He got bounced in the second round of the playoffs. LeBron James and Anthony Davis are taking a bunch of practice squad players, and they're going to win an NBA title. How did these NBA awards have become a joke, right?
Well, even you even look at and it was pointed out last night. How does Hero only make second team rookie when none made first team rookie? What?
Right. Tyler Hero is playing in the fourth quarter as a rookie. None is not even playing for the Miami Heat since he got injured, and Goran Dragic has taken over the starting role. So, yeah. I mean, these NBA awards are ridiculous. Finally, Greg, who's going to win the Eastern Conference? I have the Celtics winning in 6. I had the Lakers winning in 5. Give us your prediction for both.
Well, I've got the Lakers in 6, and I've got the Heat. I do have the Heat beating the Celtics. Although last night you did see that was Celtic. That's how the Celtics have to succeed. They create the turnovers and they get out in that transition game. You're not going to beat them when that happens. If you protect the rock against the Celtics and play them into a half-court team, you will beat them. Now, the other thing the Heat need to do is flip their script. Flip it. Jimmy buckets early and often.
He disappeared last night. They didn't really go to him. I think one of the things we see the Celtics did is Bam Adebayo is not a legitimate. He averages over 2 blocks a game, and he had a tremendous block against Jason Tatum. But you saw they went to the basket last night, putting Bam Adebayo on the outside, and all night long, Smart, Brown, they drove the ball to the basket, and they weren't afraid. If you can keep Bam on the perimeter, that leaves it wide open, because let's be honest, the Heat with Tyler Hero, with Duncan Robinson, they're not that good perimeter defensively. Jimmy Butler is, Crowder is, but those other guys, the Celtics exploited how you could get to the rim against this team.
Oh, absolutely, but they did it based off the turnovers, right? They forced the ball out of the Heat's hands all night long, and it was not the way that you go and approach the Celtics, because as soon as they get out running like that, you're dead. They've got you. That's exactly what they want to do, is play that game off based off turnovers. They look to do it.
So you have the Lakers versus the Heat. Who wins?
Lakers.
So you have LeBron winning his 4th. That makes me happy.
I have number 4. Well, I've been a Lakers fan since '75, my friend.
Yes.
I'm gonna stick to the Lake Show, right?
Greg, I'm so disappointed because we went through this whole segment. We didn't argue once. All we do is fight on Twitter like an old married couple.
It's terrible. It's terrible. You stay on the meds, though. You stay on these meds that you're on now. Everything's all right.
Greg, how can we follow you on social media? If you're not following Greg on social media, I started following Greg because of his political posts. And then we started talking about, his Cowboys. So how can we follow you on social media?
At Greg Cowboys on Twitter. Finally,
Greg, are they going to push through the Supreme Court justice pick? Or there's no way it's happening?
They're not going to be able to do it. There's just not even in the lame duck session will they be able to do it, because the consequences for the other party long term, if they tried to do this, the consequences are going to be real ugly.
Greg, you have a light streaming right now coming on top of you, and it looks like Jesus was talking.
There you go.
And I know
right?
Cowboy fans, God, country, and Jesus. So I was like, wow. It looks like Jesus was talking. Greg, love having you on. Have you on down the road again. Enjoy the games today.
You too. Take care.
All right. That was Greg Rector. Does a tremendous job covering the Cowboys, the NBA. He's a fun follow on social media. When we come back, Rico, Show Me the Money Graziano, is going to join us. You're listening to the full Monte Sports Show. We work hard on Sunday so you don't have to. Sports and comedy. Hello, Rico. How are you?
Good morning, good afternoon, Monty. You know, I was just listening, and you always you couldn't stop yourself from not going political, could you? Yeah, it's like Rex Ryan. I feel like now the rest of the
Listen,
show, we're just going to talk about politics. You, and then when you announce
no,
my name,
we're not.
you look
We're
like
not.
you're
But
reading.
Rico, it's almost like we have such great chemistry, Rico, that you almost know what my first question is going to be, and I don't send you these questions. So I do research for this show. I research my guests. I research what's going on, and I got to ask, Rico, what the hell is going on here?
Oh my God!
What is going on in this picture?
Is it? I can't. I don't even remember taking that picture, but that is me. You know what? I don't even. Is that even real? I
I'm
don't even know where
asking
I am. I don't
you,
even know where I am. But
Rico.
I guess somebody wasn't showing me the money.
Rico, why are you carrying a firearm in a bedroom?
I don't know why I'm taking a picture holding a firearm, but you know what? That's a nice hat. I wonder what happened to that hat.
So you don't remember where this picture was, what's
I
going
don't.
on?
I think now that I remember, my friend just got a brand new gun and he showed it to me, and I said, "Let me take a picture with it, show how cool I am." But that picture was about 100 pounds ago, so which is about maybe 2 years ago. No, actually, it's
Rico,
about 60 pounds ago. I'm not that skinny anymore.
Rico,
I don't.
I mean, are you trying to look like a gangster? I don't know what's happening here.
I don't know. I think I look like a pretty hot stud in that picture. You know, I think I outshine the gun.
Okay, let's look.
See,
Okay, but here's this.
it's possible. It's very possible. That's a fake gun. Screenshot live forever. It's the
Rico,
truth.
what about this? You're getting this reputation. I don't know why.
Yeah, got a girl, Gina.
Clark Kent. You know, it's funny because people said to me, and I was like, what are you talking? People are like, Rico looks so much better at night.
I feel better at night. When I wake up in the morning, you got to remember over here it's 9 o'clock in the morning, so I'm up at 8 o'clock getting ready.
But they say you look like a different person.
That's it. It's like the whole Clark Kent scenario.
You know, Rico, I think most of your dates happen late at night, you know, coming from the gambling parley, the underground clubs. So you're like Batman, like you thrive in the dark underworld.
Well, talk about dark underworld. I need a haircut, and the fact that I can find a bookie easier than a barber is shocking. I don't even know what to do. I literally had my buzzer, and I was looking at the mirror, and I'm like, I could do this, but it's not going to end well. And you can't get a haircut in town. And the people who are cutting hair are cutting it on the sidewalk, literally.
What about Melissa?
Yeah, like I said, I can't find anybody. A, she wouldn't do it. B, she's not cutting my hair.
I think we have to add to the drinking game. Every time we mention Melissa, someone's got to take a shot because we mention her all the time. And, you know, I always talk so highly of her, and you always attack her. I'm a little confused as to why that is.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said I always compliment her, and you always never compliment her.
Well, that's because you know it's you know the way it is. I'm with her since the pandemic. I think I've left her for like 2 hours a day at max. There's
that
nowhere
probably was the highlight of, like, when someone says, "What's the best thing you've done during the pandemic?" Melissa says, "Rico went out for 2 hours."
Probably. He had a doctor's appointment. He had to go. He cut his toe off or something.
Look, people think. Yeah. I like it. All right, Rico, let's get right to this. You were 1-0 last week, and you beat me. I'm not even going to talk about that. The reason why you beat me in fantasy football was because – no, let me explain. I know I'm going to beat you. So I just went with like a C lineup. Like I put my scrubs in just to see if I could beat you with my scrubs. So you're up 1-0, blah, blah, blah. Devontae Adams had 14 catches. That's what won it for you.
Yeah, Devontae Adams was a beast. He was a man amongst little boys.
Okay, Rico, let's get right to, because this is the game that I'm very interested in. The LA Rams 1-0 at the 0-1 Philadelphia Eagles. This is a pick 'em. I think the Rams are going to try to control the ball with the running game, and I think that they are going to be ahead for a long period of time. Wentz comes back in the end and wins it. What say you?
You know, Jared Goff to me looked like a game manager. He looked like that's because that's what he's good at. He's not meant to come and win the game. He's not meant for a late game drive. I like the Rams in this game. I like the Rams a lot in this game, actually. I keep looking at it. The Eagles' offensive line has a lot of problems. They're put together by Scotch tape, and they're going against a great defensive line. So I don't see that. That's just a recipe for disaster, and that shows you how important this game will show you how important the offense and defensive lines are. People forget about them because they're skilled position players. And
is Aaron Donald, the Rams' defensive tackle, the best player in the NFL?
He's top. Yes, I think so. He's
okay.
If you saw Hard Knocks, he's a beast. He just is a gigantic man. He's like alpha male amongst alpha males.
He's just a monster. So give us a score for this game. So you're saying my Eagles are going to go 0-2?
Yes, the Eagles are going to go 0-2, and they're going to lose. They're going to lose 28-14. Or you know what, 28-21. I'm not gonna.
But I mean, you're saying the Rams win and the
Rams win and cover. The Rams win and cover.
Wow, look at that, Rico.
Look,
Rico,
everybody's
getting attacked.
Drunk.
Listen, I hope the Eagles get on track, but you're taking the Rams. All right, this is a game that a lot of people are saying, even though it may be a sloppy game, this has, you hate to say it because it's so early in the season, but this could have a significant playoff implication for the Giants and the Bears. The Bears could go 2-0. Giants travel to Chicago. The Bears are a 5.5-point favorite. Do you believe in Mitchell Trubisky, or do you believe in Daniel Jones, pictured right here?
I believe in Daniel Jones. I watched that whole game last week, and Pittsburgh shut down their running game. But Pittsburgh was able to beat them because of their pass rush. If it wasn't for their pass rush and you gave him a little time, and you saw what he did with that little time, he tore them up 2 or 3 times on the, there was a few home runs that he hit. And I like Daniel Jones, and I think that they're going to win. I think they're going to win the game. I'm not even.
You think the Giants are going to win outright?
I think if people are going to try to use the Pittsburgh model of stopping Saquon Barkley, and they don't get to them. You got to remember, Pittsburgh has a great pass rush. That's why they were able to do what they were doing. Give him no time and rush the passer. So I think that people are going to try to shut down Saquon Barkley, and then they're going to get chewed up, and Daniel Jones is going to chew them up. And I know that they got Khalil Mack, and they got a good defensive line, but
their defense is pretty good. Listen, again, this is going to be a very, very good. I'm trying to do a show here, and we get this, Rico. Look. My eyebrows are out of control. Your eyebrows are out of control. I mean, this is not nice. I mean, people are not nice.
That's actually funny. I got to give it to him, because before I went on, I looked and I was like, what do I got to do? Maybe I got to give it a hit real quick.
Wow. Okay, Rico, there's a lot different than doing a podcast, right? Where you could just roll out of bed.
I didn't even put clothes on for the podcast. I was sitting in my pajamas.
Well, I used to do the podcast naked, but that's neither here nor there. Rico, so you like the Giants in a victory, upsetting the Bears?
Yes, I like the Giants. They looked good. Pittsburgh played better than them, but they looked good. Their Giants secondary is a little weak, but I don't think Trubisky.
What's the score for this one?
I think the Giants are going to win 21-14 or 21-17.
So Giants upset the Bears. Rico, can you make that gag face again that you just did? Because that's really attractive.
Thinking of you naked.
You know what? When I see that, Rico, when I see you make that face, I long for the days of this. Rico, I don't know what you're doing.
That was so long ago. I was able to see back then. Maybe not.
No glasses.
I am squinting in this picture, so maybe I am.
Your hair just went up. It's like spiked up in the back when you took off the glasses.
Again, I'm looking for a barber. Anybody? You got a guy?
Rico, there's a thing out there called gel mousse. You ever try it?
Mousse at 9 o'clock in the morning? Mousse. Who uses mousse anymore? What is it? That spray can with the foam?
All right, let's move on. Minnesota Vikings 0-1 at the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor, the rookie running back from Wisconsin, is going to start. The Colts have the best offensive line. I expect Jonathan Taylor to have 100 yards today. That is one of my fantasy football sleepers this week. Who do you like in this game?
Well, you know who I don't like in this game is Phillip Rivers. I hate him. I was talking about it with Levi last night. We were talking about this game, and he what he does great is he throws interceptions in the fourth quarter, which I believe he'll do today. He throws that ball. He'll throw it all day. He can have the best game you can look
Rico,
at.
can we go back? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Can we go back? You hate Phillip Rivers because he lost you a fantasy football championship, correct?
Yeah, twice.
Okay,
like
so get over it.
No, I'm not getting over it. No, because you know what? He does. Because, you know, when you have somebody in your fantasy, you see them and you watch them a lot. And I've watched him throughout the years. And I just know he's just that type. Sometimes he throws the ball right at the other player. And you don't know why he did it. There's no rhyme or reason. And then you see him getting mad about something. And you're like, there wasn't a player within 50 yards of that person. Why'd you throw it? I like Minnesota in this game. I think Dalvin Cook runs up and down on their defense all day long. They're not going to be able to stop him. So I like the Vikings in this one. So
yeah,
pretty
Rico,
much we've gone the opposite on every pick, me and you.
Okay. No. Well, what's the score for the Vikings-Colts game?
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be 32-28.
Okay, Rico, interesting. I don't think any NFL handicapper in the history of the world have predicted a 32 points for one team. It's usually 31, 30, 34. 32 is like two safeties. So I don't know where you come up with that number.
No, it's going to be two field goals, change it. 2 field goals over a touchdown, 32 points. There you go, buddy.
Let me ask you this question, Rico. The scouting report is out on the Vikings. They threw the ball 5 times in the first half. That Viking coaching staff doesn't want Kirk Cousins to do anything but hand the ball off.
Well, I saw that too, but in the position of the game, I kept hopping in and out of that game, and it just kept. It seemed like that's what was called for, and you know they weren't really. It wasn't much that I could say.
You have no opinion. Is something going on, Rico, right now that you're totally distracted?
Yeah, my son just came up to me.
You can bring him on camera. We can wave to him.
What's that?
I said you can put him on camera. We can wave to him.
Oh no! Come here, Giovanni. You want to say hello? Come here. Nope, he ran the other way.
All right, Rico. Let's just talk amongst yourselves while Rico totally ignores the show. I'll just put this up here. Don't take hair advice for someone who is bald.
Good. You're right. Giovanni, say hi.
Hello. Oh my God! Look at his hair.
That's right. Look at his little hair. He's got a little.
No, Rico, you have to get a haircut. What about his haircut?
Okay.
No haircut for him?
He got a haircut, but again, pandemic. Where are you going to bring him? They won't let barbershops are open in Los Angeles, but they're only letting they're bringing one chair outside on the sidewalk. They're not letting people inside the building.
Take a bowl like my parents did and just cut his hair.
And that's why you look the way you look today.
You know what? I really don't like this. I am getting abused.
They have family prison visits today.
All right. Okay. So, Rico. So I want to talk about one more thing here, and you kind of attack me for fantasy football, even though I was 74% picking winners. You attack me in my picks, but here's what I'm going to attack you. For 3 weeks up and coming to the season, you told me that I had to take a certain running back from Cincinnati who has 69 yards and 49 yards, and he's been a disaster. They don't run the ball. They have a terrible offensive line. You told me that Mixon was going to be better than Derrick Henry. He's a top 5 running back. He's not even a top 15 running back. You are 100% wrong.
We're 1 week in, and also what I thought about.
2 weeks in.
Well, we haven't started week 2. They have to
play on Thursday night.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you're right. He's doing terrible. And that doesn't even count in the fact that he does play the 2 best defenses in the NFL twice this year in the Ravens and the Steelers. So, I can admit when I'm wrong. That all being said, I would have picked him if I had the opportunity, and I never was able to pick him. So he's not on any of my teams.
But Rico, you told me, and Levi told me he's a top 5 running back, and I'm like, are you guys taking?
I still think he's a beast. They're gonna give him the ball. I mean, who knew that Burrows was gonna throw the ball? He threw the ball what
60 times?
60 times. Who knew that was gonna happen? I mean,
that's how they have to win.
Yeah, well, when you're playing, the Browns defense isn't that great either. So it should have been at 19th and thought I had a steal. They didn't even use the dude. Yeah, he's right. They didn't use him, but they will. He's their stud. He's all they got back there.
They have Burrow.
Yeah, but again, you need a running back, or you're going to put this poor kid in the backfield,
And what about this, Rico? Talk about this. A.J. Green, 14 targets, 3 catches. What the hell has happened to him?
They interviewed him, and he was talking about that. It's not that he's hurt, that he's just the game speed and running at such a high level. He's physically wasn't able to catch up to the game speed. So, I get that. He hasn't played in a year, and, you work out, but working out and then actually going on the field and being
game speed, right?
Game speed. You got to remember, a play is 20 seconds, 30 seconds, but it's like high intensity of like all your physical strength for 30 seconds. And
okay,
so,
Rico, is this true? Did you try to set me up to pick Mixon to fail?
I would never want you to fail unless you're playing against me personally. So,
all right, Rico. So you picked last week. We could only do quarterbacks. You picked Russell Wilson. I picked Lamar Jackson. So I'm going to start this week. You won the first week of fantasy football. Let's just get right to it. I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers. Always plays well against Detroit. So I'm taking Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback. Who are you selecting?
I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes. I got to use him twice. I'm going to use him right now for one of the times.
Rico, if I call him Patrick Money Mahomey, is that annoying?
No,
I say that all the time.
That's money, but he's taking my middle name. That's not nice. I'm the money.
You know what's so funny? People said that, and we're going to do this next week. People said that your nickname is Rico. Show me the money. But since you're doing so well, we should play the Shane McMahon, Rico. Here comes the money, because when you make your picks, people are going to win money. How do you like that?
I like it a lot.
Okay, we'll do it next week. Who's your running back?
My running back, since I'm going to add insult to injury, is going to be Derrick Henry.
You mean the guy who's not better than Mixon?
The guy who's not better than Mixon, who just gets the ball all the time on that team. They do nothing but just give him the ball and hope for the best.
Listen, all they do, they win ugly every week. It's so ugly, they can't stop it. And then every once in a while, they'll do a play action pass, and that'll be successful. But they're without their wide receiver Brown this week. Listen, say whatever you want about Gardner Minshew. 19 of 20, 3 touchdown passes. The first quarterback in the history of the NFL to complete 95% of his passes and have 3 touchdowns. No one thought this team would do anything. They're very competitive. I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey as my running back. Okay, now you go for your second running back.
I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley.
Wow. Rico, let me ask you this question. You're leaving 2 guys who you think are going to have monster games, Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, on the board. You're not taking either one of them.
I have them written down, but I am not taking them, no.
I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott because I think they're going to give it to him early and often against a bad Atlanta Falcon defense. Okay, I'm going to go, since I'm going with Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go with Devontae Adams as my wide receiver. And I see the look on your face. That hurts you, didn't it?
Oh, that hurt. That hurts because I already knew. I didn't even write him on the list because I already knew you were going to take him because he's the one who hurt you last week. And, you're like that guy.
The difference between you and I,
you're going to go after him.
Yeah, the difference between you and I is you're still bitter about Phillip Rivers, where Devontae Adams crushed me last week. I embrace people who hurt me.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Not me. You hurt me, we're going to have a problem. A different
problem.
All right.
Who do you take for your wide receiver?
I'm actually going to take who I don't know why I'm doing it, but I just feel like I'm doing it. I'm going to take Juju.
That's a good pick. I think they have tremendous chemistry. I really do. I think they have tremendous chemistry. Big Ben.
Well,
and
well
Juju
the press says that they do. Well, their PR people say that they do, but I didn't see much of that. But he was catching his balls.
Okay, I'm going to take Julio Jones.
I'm going to take for my next one Tyreek Hill.
Nice. I know you don't watch the show unless you're on it, even when you go back to review it.
I'm on it every week.
Listen, Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs have won 11 of 12 against the LA Chargers. Talk about dominating a team.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that powerful of. I mean, this is well before Mahomes' time.
Why are we getting personal here? Look at this. What is happening?
What
is happening?
Whoever that person is, LC knows you very well.
All right, Rico, you got to pick your tight end here.
Well, if I'm going with Tyreek Hill, who do you think I'm going with?
Don't take Travis Kelce. Oh, you're going with Andrews.
No, I actually, you know what? I am going to go with Andrews since you said it like that. I was going to go with Kelce because I figured they're just going to put up 40 points on the board, but I'll go with Andrews again. He did me solid last week. Why turn my back on somebody
you could pencil in Mark Andrews every week from the Baltimore Ravens. You love him as a tight end.
I love him as a tight end, and I've loved him from day one. When I seen him, he's a beast. He's like Gronk 2.0.
Okay, Rico, I'm going to take
no mercy, Monte.
I'm going to take Travis Kelce.
You're a Monoggy. What is it? The dojo.
We're going to get to that in a minute. Why are people attacking my dating history? I dated one woman who maybe was a jerk. The rest of them were very sweet women, very nice women. So let's just stop that right there. I'm going to take the 49ers because the Jets are an unmitigated disaster, and I'm assuming you're going to take the Steelers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Rico, I'm just going to read off my team. I'm not even going to read off yours. And just tell me how good is this team. Aaron Rodgers, Christian McCaffrey, Ezekiel Elliott, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Travis Kelce. That is like a who's who in a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, that's almost – but, both of our teams are pretty solid. But I took a little reach with Juju, I almost feel like.
Final question before we get to Rico's rant. Have you watched the end of Cobra Kai?
Yes, I did.
Talk about it.
It was heartbreaking because when your favorite character goes down.
Don't ruin it for people.
I know. Well, then you're telling me to talk about something that I can't go into. But
Okay,
it's a great episode. But what was shocking about it is that it ended in 2017. So they were never planning on doing a third season. It seems like because they sat on it for 3 years, and so that's the way they were going to end it. And I hate shows that, by the time they're on their last episode, they kind of already know we're probably not coming back and they should button it up. But they left it really open. And a lot of storylines were left open, which I'm happy that they're coming back because if you told me that was the last episode ever, I would be so upset.
Rico, what I loved about, and again, it's not a spoiler alert, what I loved about Cobra Kai on Netflix is the one fight scene in the last episode was 13 minutes long. It was so sick.
It was the longest fight scene ever. And I mean, but the best was that every fight scene, they were getting bruises. It wasn't like your regular TV fight scene. Like you saw the girl get hit and she got a black eye. And I was
it was vicious.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a funny long fight scene. I got to give it to them. They must have worked on that for weeks.
What's great about the fight scene is you can almost identify with everyone who's fighting the other person, and you could say, yeah, I want this person to win. I want this girl to win. And the two girls who are fighting or the two guys who are fighting, you're almost rooting for both because there's no real enemy. The only one, Hawk, is out of control. We know that. But even the two little kids who were fighting, it's hilarious.
I know. It's so cheesy that you fall in love with it because you're right. Because they make you see point of views on both sides. Why, like he's the bad guy, he's the good guy, and then but there's parts on both that he wouldn't be the bad guy if he just knew this information.
Yes,
and vice versa. So you're kind of like, depending on how you feel, you see who's bad and who's good.
Even Johnny, they're all pretty good people.
He's great. I can't believe it. Well, I haven't seen him really much since.
No, he's amazing. And Ralph Macchio's acting is off the charts.
Both of them.
You've never seen Ralph Macchio in the Karate Kids angry. Like when he and again, this is not a spoiler alert, when he walks into the dojo and he says, "What are you going to do about it?" to Johnny? And he's like, I'm not going to strike first. But he's like inviting John. When has Ralph Macchio, Daniel-san, the Karate Kid, ever challenged someone to a fight?
Yeah, no, I know. He was in there. And you're right. You see him getting rattled. He gets rattled. It's a very well done show. I'm surprised. When it came out in season 1, we get the screeners. So they send out these things called screeners that they give everybody the CDs to watch them and to vote. So it came in, and I was like, wow, and they sent the whole season. YouTube sent the whole season, and I was like, wow, they really believe in this. Like, they really like what they got here. And then, nothing happened. I watched one episode and never really got back to it.
So who got you into Cobra Kai on Netflix? Say it.
Right there. Full Monte, baby. The full Monte got me back.
This is a great point. I talk about this with my friend Andrea. It's really about John. Yeah, I mean, their relationship, Johnny and Daniel want to be friends.
They do, and he's right. The whole show is about his lack of communication. They go a little overboard that he doesn't know anything about a computer. That's kind of funny. It's funny because it's so cheesy.
They want to be friends a lot like you and I want to be friends, but there's always forces keeping us apart, Rico, and that's why we are bitter rivals.
Usually it's 3,000 miles for me and you that keep us apart.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, Rico, it's that time
I'm sorry about your bike, by the way.
What's that?
I'm sorry about your bike.
I have not brought that up because people don't care. For those of you who don't know, my bike got stolen in a gated community in a private garage. $700 bike got stolen, so you will not be seeing pictures of me riding my bike for a little while. But nobody cares about that, Rico. What they care about is Uncle Rico going on a rant. So here is your time. Every week, we call it Rico's Rant.
Well, you asked for it. My rant is not taking things personal because I was thinking about it yesterday. Somebody said something to me, and I was like, and I froze for a second, and we were on the phone, and I was like, I'm not going to take that personal. Because you know what? There was a story. I was going to say there was a story. Here's a story of why you don't take nothing personal. Because there was this guy I knew, but I didn't know him well enough that if he hurt my feelings, I would say something to him. Like, I just kind of like let it go. I was like, he's lucky. He's lucky I'm in California. It was one of those moments. But then, like 3 days later, and I didn't.
Is this me and you talking on the phone, Rico? Is that why you're threatening me right now?
Yeah. So this guy was telling me something we have to do on his show, and I didn't like the way he talked to me. No. But so what happened is that he ended up calling me, and we were talking for a minute, and he was like, man, I was feeling so sick the other day. And pretty much he had diarrhea, and he was just being a total jerk to everybody. So instead of me being the selfish person that I am told I am by multiple people and taking it personal that he was personally against me, something was going on with him, right? So that's my whole thing about that is like, no, I don't like taking things personal. Also, like a thing that's been bothering me too is like I see people always like trying to be like everybody else, but then like you watch like people like Oprah who are so unique and so themselves, and so many other like actors and everything who are so unique. And we all look at them like they're like the best, but yet we want to look like everybody else. So, like I feel like that's something that just popped in my head.
Rico the philosopher, all of a sudden.
And I also have a real belief is that everything you say and do is meant to be said and done. Rico, and I'll end with that one. Everything.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch this, and I'm going to be like, what the hell is he talking about? But again, my very first show, I said to everyone who's watching the very first show that we did here, before you came on the air, I used the quote from the movie Tootsie. Bill Murray, who was a playwright, and Bill Murray said, I don't want someone to come up to me after they see my show and say, hey, man, I really liked it. I got what you were saying. He goes, I want people to come up to me after they saw my show and say, hey, man, I saw your show. What the hell happened? And that's the Rico's rant right there. What the hell just happened?
Seth Rogen was in a preview of his movie, and when he watched the movie, everybody was cheering and laughing. And then what he did was that he snuck in on a preview where nobody knew he was there, and it was ghost town. It was quiet. And when he left, he said, this movie is not good. And they were like, what do you mean? Everybody loved it last time. They just a different crowd. He goes, they loved it because I was there. And he's like, I can't go to 7,000 movie theaters to get the money for people to see my movie. It's not a good movie. And he was right. It was a flop.
He's swung and missed a lot. Rico, I hope you swing and miss on your fantasy football picks this week because I am coming back. I'm going to give you the option right now. Give me $50.
You gave a little jitter.
Give me $50 and we'll call it even.
Nope. How about I'll do it the other way around? How about you give me 35 and 2 cups of coffee and a haircut, and we'll call it even.
Listen, your hair. Show people your hair one more time. Something needs to be done, Rico.
Right.
Out of control. What is that?
I don't know. I feel like a lollipop kid from Wizard of Oz.
All right, Rico. Tell everyone what we do on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, we do a recap of Sunday's football show, and we go through all the games, and we also bring out somebody to talk to about football and everything you need to know about Sunday. You don't even have to watch football. You can just come on Tuesday night and we'll listen to me and Monte, and we'll let you know everything that's going on, even the little quirks of each game.
Awesome, Rico. I couldn't have said it better myself. Finally, you're earning your money on this show.
Thank God, Joe. I get worried. I feel like Joe's going to cut me out one day.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Thanks so much. That was Rico. Show me the money, Graziano. Always does a tremendous job. Listen, we're going to do one of my favorite parts, just basically Monte's extra point. It's just going to be a quick little recap here. Listen, for those of you who don't know, I live in Florida, okay? And what's happening in Florida right now is absolutely disgusting. There are people protesting. Don't wear a mask. They're protesting this. Now, one of my favorite movies, okay? One of my favorite movies is Snatch. And the guy says you should never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. Read that quote one more time. You should never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. I love that quote. But here's what's even more disturbing about these people. They don't want their kids to be tested for COVID-19 who play football. They don't want athletes to be tested. And if the kids get tested and they have positive, they want it kept silent. If I get COVID-19, I'm going to tell everyone so they can be safe. Listen, this is not against your Constitution, wearing this mask. This is not limiting me from doing anything. It's keeping me safe. It's keeping you safe. The head of the CDC said, and I quote, wearing a mask is safer than any vaccine we might possibly get. So all these people who don't wear a mask, who are saying we don't want our kids to wear masks, you're going to get your kids killed. And you're going to get killed. Never underestimate the predictability of stupidity. Wearing a mask doesn't infringe me on doing anything. I could go bike riding. I could go walking. I could do this show with the mask like I'm doing now. So don't tell me that wearing a mask goes against your constitutional rights. You can't smoke in restaurants. You can't drive drunk. You get a ticket if you don't wear a seatbelt. Wear a damn mask. End of story. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the full Monte Sports Show. I want to thank Carita Parks. I want to thank Greg Rector, and I want to thank Rico. Show me the money, Graziano. But most of all, I want to thank you guys because you're making this a great show, and the feedback during the week is so positive. If you like this show, feel free to post it on your social media outlets and send this YouTube video to anyone you know so we could do this 5 days a week. And in the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.